Are we getting closer to the next impulsive move in XRP? Why does that become more relevant today? Because when you actually go look at the Bitcoin dominance, you see it is trying to break to the downside. The impulsive movement was to the downside. You consolidated inside that range, and now you're trying to break that to the downside. Last time, when we did something like this, we actually saw a huge drop. Now, why is that so important with respect to XRP? Look at this date, July 13th. That's when the Bitcoin dominance dropped. Now, we go on to the XRP price chart and look at when we popped, July the 13th. So you kind of get the idea that something happened where a lot of money moved out of Bitcoin and that went into XRP or altcoins in general. Or there was a lot of new money coming into the market, but it went into the altcoins. If you actually look at the price action on that particular day, we will all agree with the fact that XRP and XLM was the two biggest runners on that particular day. So if that's the truth and we are watching Bitcoin dominance trying to break to the downside, what if we see something similar? Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now in the crypto market, we do see that we are up in the total cap. However, we are actually watching that Bitcoin as a whole is not up that much. So the question becomes like, what assets are actually running up? We actually see few assets trying to break higher, few of them already starting a run up. Say here, if you look at RLB, it's up, but if you look at the volume, it's not a good asset. Then you have KNC, which is up 15% for the day and 24% for the week, right? So you actually get the understanding of how things are evolving in this space. And then you're looking at the market side of Bitcoin dominance. If this is dropping, that means you are about to watch a lot of these different assets running up. And then you actually enter into the market space where you want to see like, okay, if KNC was able to do this move up, was that already visible on the charts? We were looking at it. Now, yes, it did take a couple of months because the divergence actually came in. One, it was bullish. Two, it was like an accumulation range where it was forming a creek and then a break to the upside. So it does look bullish because that particular level shown here, 0.7, that has now been breached. You are now above that. So if you are looking for something like this on time when no one is watching and you're early and you have to wait, but you get the better prices, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So as we jump on to the price charts, as we look at the fundamentals, we do have to keep in mind something like this is coming on our way. So if you see an exchange where you can do all these transactions, but you don't have the KYC, AML, all of that happening, you're not actually giving your location, you're not actually giving your IDs, then there is some kind of trouble coming in. Because, government, what they do is control. They want to actually reduce the negative side of it, but that also comes in with all these different measures. This stablecoin provision was just added. Now, what is that provision, right? If this bill actually goes through, Parrot Capital highlight the fact that, okay, all these stable coins either will have to go KYC, meaning they should only be operating on exchanges where it is KYC'd. So it's like, know your customer, anti-money laundering, all these things are in place. But if you want to transfer USDT on the ledger, it's up to you, right? Otherwise, they'll have to come in with new set of barriers and that wouldn't look great, which actually shows you the fact that, okay, that kind of brings a lot of attention towards an asset which go through all these KYC endpoint. And that kind of brings a lot of attention towards Ripple, XRP, and the way they do the business. Now, Ripple actually shows this 97%. That's a big number, right? That's a big number. Believe blockchain and crypto will transform the way money moves. Now, for us, we already understand that. We are the early guys. We are the masses who came in early, right? So in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time, it would be looking at things would look different for sure. But at that point, we would be the whales. It would look like, okay, we are part of the whales now. Because if you hold up 10,000 units XRP, 100,000 units XRP, and in 5 years, the price actually goes way above the price action which we are looking forward, say at least $20, $50, wherever the price is at that point, imagine how many of the new coming guys can buy those assets. Because the way in which the fundamental is accelerating right now, that's massive. Because the way we understand how things are evolving, it's actually getting super interesting to watch how this is actually moving in, seeping through all these different payment rails. The plumbing for money is being renewed. And they all understand the fact that this is happening. There is no going back. The genie is out of the bottle. And that's one of the reasons why when I actually see like, okay, there are doubts, questions, all that coming in saying, you don't actually have to use XRP on this. But what people forget is that if they are watching large amount of tokenization on XRP Ledger, you want to do the transaction one, right? You do tokenize, say, a real estate. Now you need transactions in and out because you're looking for traders, investors for that property as an investment. So you are going to use the XRP Ledger to do that trade where XRP is a native asset. Simple. Then you look at the CBDCs being built or the stable coins being built on top of the XRP Ledger or its side chain. Think about this. This is your palm. You have all these fingers. So this is like your side chains and this is your main ledger. Great. So if this guy want to communicate with this guy here, which is say currency A to currency B, two CBDCs, they will go through the main ledger. I mean, it's not a brainer, but you need a bridge asset when you're transacting from say a CBDC of dollar towards a CBDC of euro. That will go through a bridge asset. I don't actually think like they will all agree on one stable coin, whether it's the US, the China, the North Korea, the Iran, and all these countries. Geopolitically, they never agree with each other. And I don't think it's going to come in a day. Most likely, this is what we are going to watch. The BRICS is going to come up with their own infrastructure. And then they will still have all these money movements. So that means XRP Ledger is going to take over a lot of payments. For sure, there is no doubt on that. Ripple applying for license as a cryptocurrency company in the UK. With what just happened in the court ruling, we now understand the fact that there is no debating the fact that the law of the land is that XRP is not a security. There is no doubt, and that's what we actually get. So we are not lawyers, at least I'm not, and we are going through what the experts are saying. We are reading that, taking the time to understand what they said, because you do have the argument, the debate, other guys standing on the other side saying, okay, this part is security, this part is not security. That's not how it actually works. So you actually go through and understand XRP in itself as an asset is not a security. Clear. Then we actually see like, okay, in general, for the crypto market, things are actually heating up. When you actually watch Geo Financial Services launching digital asset manager, that for, a developing nation, as a developing nation, it's like, you have a lot of youngsters who are interested in it, and you have a massive reach right now in that country where you can seep in all these marketing. So basically, if they are opening an infrastructure as an asset management where it's digital asset first, which means the marketing side of it is going to be Bitcoin, is going to be XRP, all these bigger coins. There is no doubt in that. Then you actually see, what we have talked before. This is earlier this month, right? Ripple Labs to tokenize multi-billion-dollar real estate industry. That is happening. Whether we like it or not, for XRP holders, that's one of the best news out there happening right now, bringing larger values of assets into that ecosystem. That does mean it creates more values. So in that sense, keep your coins, hold your coins. If you don't really know the keys, it's going to be hard. If you're actually keeping that on an exchange, say majority of your assets, it's going to be risky. So you need to think about how you can hold on to your assets. Why? because you are looking at the macro economy and you're saying, okay, Dow Jones is actually breaking higher. It literally just broke above last year of resistance. So for a long period of time, we actually saw that this particular range acted as a strong resistance and support. So if you actually take that in a number of days to actually assess, like, okay, how significant is this particular breakout? Now you can actually put the argument saying, like, okay, if I'm looking at this, I would actually say, okay, from this range, the market actually moved a little bit up, but it hit the resistance and then dropped back. But that support trend line held, which is a strong argument to say, like, okay, we do believe that this is going to hold. And that particular level has been valid for like 800 days. So the price going above that shows something is happening. Now, yes, you do get resistance at the all-time highs level, but you still have some more room to go to the upside. Now, do I believe this is a revived new bull run where you're watching next 2-3 years to the upside? I don't think so. Maybe it is, but I don't think so, because the way we are looking at the economy, it doesn't actually look good unless all the central banks go in with pushing in liquidity into the market. That's not what we are going to look at. Right now, we are watching the layoffs happening in the industry, so that's not positive. Now we zoom in on the crypto side of things. We want to see, are we breaking lower? And on a shorter horizon, I do think, yes, we are breaking to the downside. We actually got a 4-hour candle breaking to the downside. Then next 4-hour candle trying to hold on or at least go back, retest that range. And it didn't really happen, right? It's still somewhat at this level. That actually means the weightage to the downside is increasing. Now, think about this for a moment. You're actually going back to the basics of TA here. You'll actually look at this and say, okay, this is what I'm looking at. The price action actually came to this top and it slowed down as soon as you saw a break of this range. Now, things changed. Now, what happened at that point? You broke this range. Great. Now, it's crypto, it's price action. You're watching this and it slowly come back up, retest that range, gets rejected. Great. And that rejection is what pushed the price to the downside at a time when XRP popped. Great. Now what are we watching? We have this range of support. So if we are actually plotting it as a trend line, we can actually put the argument like we are now at a support. Let's actually try to be a little bit precise on this. And this is how it would look like. Say, if we are to get another drop towards 49.61, it's still okay. On a short-term pattern, it is reaching a level of support. So you have the resistance at the upper bound here, and you're watching the price action on the lower structure here. Great. Now, if you actually zoom out a step back to the daily chart and ask the question like, okay, what are we really doing? Are we actually reversing to the downside? Do we have a trend line? We have to agree on the point that the price is actually trending to the upside, which means you have a trend which is coming back to the support and bouncing. Now, you may actually observe the fact that the price action may do this kind of movement, a wick to the downside, and then go up. But that point in itself can actually help the price action in altcoins to run up. So especially when we are looking at XRP for that matter, we are concerned with this particular range. We are interested in knowing whether we are breaking to the upside or to the downside, because that range is a lot of importance. It actually brings attention to the fact that bulls, can they really push the market to the upside? Do they have the strength to do that? Right now, it shows the aspect where the price action is slowing down, and the way it is acting, it is like, okay, maybe I'm going to try and put in a bottom here close to 0.7. But if you look at the weakness forming here, we can actually put the argument saying, okay, we are watching a level here where if you zoom in, you can also put the argument saying like, okay, maybe it is true, but I think there is a bigger possibility that the price action is trying to form a short term. Yeah, it is short term, but around a top pattern, and that would create a thought process like we are going to come back down to 0.68. So if you're a buyer of this asset, you are looking at the RSI, you're looking at the trend lines, and you're saying, okay, we are slowly testing that range of resistance. If we get rejected, that means you're going down. Fine. But it's not the right time to make that judgment because we are still close to the trend line. If we do a little bit of move up, maybe a 3%, a 5% move to the upside, we will break this on a short term. That means you're going to see some more strength coming back into the market. So that is one of the primary reasons why I say think about what the macro guys are doing, the bulls, the institutions, all these guys with big money, what are they really doing? That's where you actually get to see the monthly chart. And then on the monthly chart, it does show you like, okay, the price action did go up to 0.93 and right now it's holding on to 0.71. We are getting so close to a monthly candle close. Look at that MACD. I mean, you won't actually see a much bigger bullish indication in the market before it actually takes off. Because now if you say the price is too high, I want to buy lower, think about what you would say when the price action is at $6, $10, $15. That's like, in the multiples of 5, 10, 15, 20x from the current price action. So look at the RSI now and ask yourself, like, are you actually watching the RSI slowing down, moving down? Or are you watching a trend line forming in the RSI? Yes, you did pop last time, but it eventually came back down to the trend line. And then what happens? You consolidate, they do a double bottom reversal, which actually turns into an accumulation too, right? If you are a fan of Wyckoff, now you are like, okay, you did the accumulation, you went up. After breaking that to the upside, the price actually stays there, retest that couple of times and bounces off. That gives you a validation that the trend is now confirmed. You're going to the upside. So if you actually go back in time, this is what we are talking about. That's the range of retest, where this was the range of accumulation. So that means now we are repeating the history. And when we are repeating the history, this time we do not have the load or the gravitational pull because of the SEC case. You don't have exchanges delisting it. You have the exchanges relisting this asset. So you have new on ramps for this particular asset. And whenever the price is going up, for sure, in this kind of a market environment, with all these news we are watching, people are going to jump into this asset, which will create extra volatility. So make sure when you actually see divergence, whether it's in a short-term chart or a macro chart, you take profits. This is going to be really important. Say your target is $6. Imagine that. The price action may go to $7.58 before it actually retraces, because you're going to see a massive FOMO, not only from the institutions, but also from a lot of retail around the globe who were before saying, okay, this is a banker's coin. Let me go to the Bitcoin. Let me go to the Ether. They're going to jump back in because they would agree, or they would have to agree, that the market thinks differently. That's why the asset is popping through the roof. And what we are doing here is learning through the TA, history, and the price action, saying, okay, this is taking off. Whether we agree with it or not, in 3 months' time, in 5 months' time, it wouldn't actually look like this. It would look would completely be a different area where you would be talking about taking profits or missing the top. So now, yes, it's just at the bottom. It's just breaking to the upside. It's just starting. But in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, when the price action actually goes through the roof, we really don't want that amount of regret. Go back to a macro chart where you have the entire price action, where you have everything available for XRP in terms of the price action, in terms of the indicators, whatever you want to use, right? You can actually literally go through any different indicators which you want to. But what matters for me is whether those indicators which you are using is showing you that it is about to go to the upside. Because on a macro, if the monthly is this, that means now this month is about to end. Great. Next month will start, and August, September, as we know, kind of brings in some kind of selling pressure, for sure. But the way the monthly is showing you this kind of a movement, usually after such a blast, you follow through. Yes, do you actually see a price action coming back down like this? Don't neglect that. It can happen. But what matters at the end of the month is that did that asset end up going back to the upside? That's what matters, right? So you go look at this and say, okay, if the price action is coming back down towards 28 billion in the market cap, which would be somewhere like 0.55, 0.58 in price action, that can be a massive opportunity if that happens, right? Now you zoom in, you're going into a weekly chart saying, okay, I understand that on a monthly, it's actually looking extremely bullish and I really don't want to miss that. On a weekly, you see that you broke above the moving average, you stayed on top of it and bounced off, breaking through a major resistance level. If you go back, you actually will watch that this particular range has been active for a long period of time, and breaking through that was not easy, and breaking through that brought a ton of volume into the market. Now, yeah, you can actually put the argument saying, okay, XLM is also looking something similar. It actually shows you a huge opportunity is taking place. The RSI is just starting to pop back through and showing you that, okay, something is changing. That kind of brings in attention from a lot of big guys for sure. And it's not only a couple of assets doing that, especially when we look at the entire market, we do see few assets bringing in similar price action. Now, some of them has heavy volume, so it's easy to identify the patterns, easy to identify whether it's about to blow off or not. But the issue for most of us would be, okay, that's a monthly chart. You need a ton of patience to see how these candles actually closes, because if you go back in time and ask yourself the question, say, how many individuals in the market said to you that this was the double bottom? How many individuals in the market gave you the idea that this was about to happen? Now, why is that so important to ask such a question? Like, if we pose such a question, it is easy to say, okay, today in this environment, when the price is breaking higher, staying above these resistance, it's easy to say that, yeah, I agree, but it's really not that easy to go back in time. This is like, 3.5, 4 months back when we were discussing about this breakout, bringing you guys on a monthly chart and saying this is a double bottom. And the price is matching with the recent past here. That was the major topic. And when the video started, I gave you this on that day saying, I believe that the XRP is about to go up. This is the Wyckoff pattern. And right now, when you look at all those signals, which actually was like, 3 months back, 4 months back, when a lot of people were looking for a lower low, our perspective didn't change. Why? Because the price action showed us after 700 days, something just changed. Whether we wanted that or not, the market brought that to us. Same thing. Right now, when we go look at the price action and say this is about to happen, most likely we will observe these movements in the market. It would be really hard to believe such things for sure. But in 4 months' time, when we are at those range, it would be just regret. Why? The price action should go higher. Most of them who have packed their bags somewhat in this range, they're holding on to it, they would be taking profits, and for sure we'll watch people trying to jump into the market, buy that asset at an all-time high. I've observed the exact same thing back in 2021 when I was taking profits in Ether about too early, right? 85 to 200, 220. You guys watched me giving it in the alerts when I was taking the profits, closing it all the way from now. I starts early with my exit targets, right? 850, 1200, 1800, 2000, all the way up to like 3900, 950 range. Yeah, I missed the top for sure. But remember, I bought a range of 200, 220 and was selling towards 3900. So for me, that's a great ROI. So at that price point, if you're asking me, is this a good asset to buy? Buddy, I'm confused. Why? Because I was buying back in a time when everyone was like, this asset is not going anywhere, it's going down. I was buying during that time. So when the price has already moved 10, 20x, I really don't know whether we have another 10x from here, because I'm taking profits and I'm reducing my asset massively, moving out of that asset. Same thing. In 4 months' time, if you watch price action hitting new levels where it's maybe $10, $20, $50, who knows, at that time, it would just be regrets. So what you can look forward to is the short-term chart for sure. Thinking about, okay, if the price action come back down to 0.6, 0.55, I can seize that opportunity. Whether you wish to do that, whether you really want to do that, you need to be prepared mentally. 1, 2, you should have the dry powder to do just that. So be ready and have patience. So guys, if you received value, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're looking for these kind of updates on the right time, look at the Patreon. We're going through a ton of different assets right now. So if you are looking for opportunities in the market, if you are looking for where the breakout is, what's your target and all, this can help you. So that's it for today, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.